Hello, my name is Decorion Thomas, and I will be performing the 7th grade All County Snare audition piece. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to start the whole piece at under tempo, and then we're going to play it again at the regular tempo, which is at 116, and then we're going to take it line by line, so that way I can give you hints and tips on how to perform the piece to the best of your ability. So let's get started. One, two, one, two, Okay, so there it is under tempo. Now let's play it at regular tempo, which is at 116 by the quarter note. One, two, one, two, ready, So let's break this down all the way. So from the first line, which is measures 1, 2, and 3. The most important thing that you're going to need to learn how to do in order to get this piece down pat is flams. So just in case you don't know what a flam is, I'm gonna help you out. So it's simply right hand over your left or left hand over your right. Now, I see a lot of students whenever they start off doing flams that their sticks are at the same level. Don't do that, because then you get what is known as a double stop. You don't want that. In order to get a flam, you have to keep the right hand over your left. So say if you're trying to do a left hand flam, your left hand is going to be touching the snare first. So keep that closest to the snare and then follow it up with your right hand. So that way you can get a nice clean flam. Also, that open space between the two, that's known as a grace note. Now, I'm just giving you a quick touch up on what everything is so that way you can get more familiar with flams. Now, for these first 3 measures, you have a series of flams with 16th notes and then flams with quarter notes and then rest. Now, of course, it's also the counting that people get confused with, so let's break it down. First things first, you're going to be at forte, okay? Now, if need be, always circling your dynamic levels, writing your counts, do whatever you need to do in order for you to get this piece down. So, first measure is 3 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? I'm going to do it again. 3 and 3 and 4. Now, the reason why I click is because you'll understand where that rest is coming from. Okay, so let's continue on with measure 2. You start off with a flam, then you have a rest, then you have a 16th note, and then a quarter note, which will sound something like this. Okay, we're going to do it again. 1, 2, ready, and rest. Okay. And then we're going to go to the last part of the first line, which is the same thing as the very first measure. You have the 16th note, quarter note, and 16th note again. So 1, 2, ready, and rest. Okay? So let's try the first line together. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and rest. 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 Okay? Now that last flam is leading on to the next line, but we'll get to that. So let's take the first line at regular tempo. 1, 2, ready, and rest, rest, rest. Everybody get it? Okay. So let's go ahead and go to the second line. Okay? So your second line is connecting somewhat with the first line. And you're going to start off, as a matter of fact, we're at measure 4. So you're going to start off with a flam, then you have a quarter rest, and then you have eighth notes. Okay? So let's just play measure 4 by itself. Oh, little tip. You're also going to have a crescendo going from piano to forte. So that's also important. That's the main thing the judges listen for is dynamic levels. So be careful with that. So just measure 4 by itself. 1, 2, ready, and rest. Do it again. 1, 2, ready, and rest. Now, going into measure 5, you have this. Okay? I'm going to play it again. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 1, and a 2, and a 3, and 4 piano. Okay? So let's run measures 4 and 5 together. 1, 2, ready, and 1. Good. Okay? Now let's run measures 4, 5, and 6 together. Okay? As a matter of fact, let's break down measure 6 before we go into that whole line. So measure 6, you have, once again, you have those 16th note flams. And another thing in measure 6 is there's an accent on the E of the 16th notes when you have 3 E and a. Okay? Now normally you would have the accent on 1, but we have it on the E of the 16th note. I'll show you what I mean. So let's start at measure 6. 1, 2, ready, and. Did you catch it? We're going to do it again. Measure 6. 1, 2, ready, and. Now, the key is, because whenever you do it at regular tempo, you have to squeeze in that extra oomph on the left hand, okay? So that way you can get that extra accent in there, all right? So let's try it one more time. Just measure 6 by itself, and then we'll tackle all of measures 4, 5, and 6. And then we'll try and run in, the first line and see how far we can get, okay? 1, 2, just measure 6. Okay? One more time. 1, 2, ready, and. Now another trick, like I said, add a little extra oomph on the left hand. So you're kind of gonna have to push it for the accent to come out. Okay. Got it? Now let's take 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll run all of it together. Okay? 1, 2, we're starting at measure 4. Good. Take it at regular tempo. 1, 2, ready, and. Did you catch it? Did you add in the extra from the left hand? Alright, good. Okay, so let's start at measure 1 and then go all the way to measure 6. And then we're going to tackle measure 7, 8, 9, 10, all the rest of the piece, okay? So let's start at the very beginning. We're going to take it slow, and then we're going to take it at regular tempo, alright? The main key in order to get music down, yes, I know some kids want to speed through it, but You gotta take it slow first. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. Rest. Good. Now, let's take it at regular tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. Watch that left hand. All right? And don't forget your dynamic levels. Those are very important. Okay? You're doing good. You're doing good. Let's start off at measure 7, 8, and 9. Okay? This is where you start to add in your 5-stroke rolls. So, 5-stroke roll is simply right, right, left, left, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you'll see that at measure 9, as a matter of fact, but I'm just letting you know ahead of time so that way you can get the feel for it, okay? So let's start off at measure 7. 1, 2, we're gonna run the whole line, all right? 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Let's try it again.